Okay, welcome everybody. This class, this community circle that we're hosting for Rise and Thrive is on digestion and cooking with essential oils. This is a really cool one because we've got two pretty much experts in both of those topics on our call today. Caitlin has gone through a digestive issue, so she's used the oils a lot for her digestion. And then Babette uses the oils a lot in her cooking in the kitchen. So I'm excited to hear all the things that come up on this topic. I'm going to be on the chat box. So feel free to ask questions because I've been using the oils in these ways as well. But I will hand it over to Babette and Caitlin to get us started.
Hey guys, I'm Caitlin. I am a college student. I'm going to nursing school starting next January because I graduate in December. I started using the oils last summer, I think. I did an IBD intensive because I have Crohn's disease with Kim and got hooked on the oils, and now I use them to help me with literally everything, but mainly digestion. So that's just a little bit about me. And now for Babette.
Thank you. So I'm Babette, and I'm living here in New Zealand, where Kim does, and I do a couple of things here. So as an introduction of me, I work for a foundation as a customer experience designer. I also work for my husband's company, where we try to create new kind of solar cells for satellites and then later on for the moon. And I also just wrote a book, which is under editing. So I'm really excited about that. And my other good stuff is doing yoga, which is the acro yoga I went crazy about. But Kim was the one who taught me heaps of Pilates and brought me into yoga deeply in New Zealand. And also she was the one who enrolled me with doTERRA. So as I remember, I was the only one who enrolled with the cooking kit at that time. So that tells something about me, cooking. So yeah, this is how I got into doTERRA, through cooking. And I'm still keep doing it. And I would like to tell you a couple of things about cooking. So this will not be about recipes, and this will not be about baking, because I'm not that good in baking as cooking. I love that more. And so it will be about practical things. What do you and how do you use, and what is good for what, and some tips. It's kind of more about the fun part of cooking. And it will be about the approach rather that you can take with the oils. So I structured it in a way that beginners who are beginners in cooking or beginners in oils can have some ideas, and also people who are more advanced either in cooking or with their oils can have some tips as well. So I would like to start with hot beverages or hot food, and then cold food, and then a little bit of extras. So the first and foremost, go and experiment. Always just go and try and do it, because even one try is no try. Try at least 3 times. Whatever you try again. And then you can, even if you don't like it, just go again and try in a different way, but try again. So hot food cooking tips. So tip number 1 for me regarding cooking is start with what you already know. Start with what you already like. So if you have some herbs, like I'm really like a herbalist since I was like 14, and I love cooking with herbs. So that's why I chose the cooking kit, because it had herbs that I already used, but I wanted to experience with them in another way, because the oil is not completely, but vastly different from the dried herbs that we use in the food. So my first tip would be, if you have some herbs that you already use in cooking, try to mix them with like olive oil or coconut oil or whatever oil you are using in your cooking, and add the same oils, essential oils. So for example, for me, it was like basil, oregano, rosemary, thyme, and all of these herb stuff. I just had the dried herbs, I added the oils, and I let them just sit there in olive oil until I prepared the food. And when the two just matured together, it just gave us a so much better taste than when I use the oils either separately in my food, like let's say a spaghetti bolognese or something like a goulash, I'm doing Hungarian stuff. It was completely different from using the oils separate, using the herbs separate, but when they were mixed and then put into the food, that was the magical taste that I was looking for. So that was tip number one. And try different ones. So you might feel like, oh, I love basil and oregano, but I don't like the oregano oil. I just love the basil oil. So then just leave it out. So you can have mix and matches in your food. And tip number two is timing. So I've learned a lot from Kim, but we are human beings, so we do not listen all the time. And I was told that, yes, you should use the oils. Try to use them, especially if you're cooking, so that they don't lose all of that smell and taste and everything goodness that they have at the very end of it. But because I love cooking, and that's why I love cooking instead of baking, that you can change and adjust things. So I used them in the beginning, and then they're just gone. Some of them was like, poof, gone, especially when you do fry things or you cook something for longer. So timing is really critical. So one thing that I mentioned, either mix them at the very beginning with other oils and other herbs. So even the dried herbs can soak it up and keep it for longer, or add it to the end of your cooking. So when you are almost there, like the last 5 minutes, or sometimes even after you are done, because it's still really hot, so it can still mix in. And the other thing is like, or you can do it at the beginning. And what I recently experimented a lot with was steaming. So I used, and we are not vegetarians, so I use the oils, especially with meat. So what I tried is that I put some meat into a bowl, and then I used different oils, and I covered it. And that's how I put it into the oven for an hour or two. And that was like magical how it came out. So first of all, your kitchen smells for 2 hours fantastically. And then how it soaked up all the essence of the oils and all the taste and the smell, it was so amazing. And first I mixed the oil, so it was like a mix in all of the meat, but then I tried it like different oils on different meats. So I was like, one piece of meat tasted like more rosemary, one was more oregano, one was more basil. And it was funny, and it gave me a chance to say, oh, I love all these herbs, but I love this one way more than the others. So I realized which one I love more, and that's what I want to use next time. And that's the same for the others in your household. So you can understand what they like, because probably they will like different things, which is okay. And then you can cook accordingly so that everybody can be happy. So that's about timing. And tip number three, again, I should have learned from Kim, but I learned through experiment, because that's what we are. Less is more. So I was told at the very beginning, like with pepper, especially black pepper, oh, you don't need too much. You just need a toothpick, have a toothpick in it, put it into your food and just stir it with a toothpick. It would be enough. And I'm the one who is still, I was at the very beginning, but I'm still sometimes abusing my oils, which means I'm overusing them. And I just like, oh, I will just have them. It's like one toothpick, I will have one drop because, I'm Hungarian, I can handle that, And it was like 3 drops went into the food. It's still going to be fine. Like, gosh, it was so hot. So we have to remember that the oils are really concentrated. They are really strong. And that's why when you have a small bottle, can last for so long, because you only use 1 drop or 1 toothpick. And really be careful with them. So some of them are really hot. So like pepper, especially black pepper, pink is a little bit less, but black is really strong. Oregano is really strong. Thyme is really strong. Some are savory, and cloves. So all of this can burn you. Like seriously, if you smell them and you touch it to your nose, then it's gonna burn for like half an hour. Yes, essentially it will be gone, but you don't want that feeling. So it's really important that less is more. And sometimes because the oil just simply has a different taste than what you used to with your herbs even, or if you use an oil like Lithia that you are not used to traditionally, like I'm not, then it's just can be too strong for the first time. Yes, later you can get onto it like hooked up, but at the beginning it's just try always with less. That's really key. Tip number 4,
Sorry,
choose.
Interrupt you and just add a story about that. The less is more. So, because like my hubby Harry, the same thing happened. I was like, hey, you don't need a lot. And he was like, oh, what should we use? Like I think it was a pasta dish. And so it had like tomato sauce. He's like, oh, oregano, oregano, if you're in the States. And so I go, but that's a hot oil. So you only put a little bit at the very end. I told him the whole thing. He goes, yeah. And and I saw him go like this. no. And it was pretty much ruined. It was like so strong. We kind of saved it just by heating it up longer, so the heat kind of got rid of it, but oregano is strong, so it's really overpowered. And it's amazing. Yeah, you just need such a tiny amount.
Yes, and that's what you just said, that it was ruined. And yes, I have ruined a couple of books too. So, and I hate waste. I hate waste of time, waste of food, waste of anything. So it was really painful for me, because if you can't eat it, you have to throw it out. And also you can have the impression of like, oh, this is not for me, or this oil doesn't work for me in the kitchen. And so just try less, seriously, because it does work. It's just, if you use too much, it really can destroy it. It's the same with like herbs, you know, when you use a little bit, that's a medicine that helps. When you overuse them, it can be a poison. So it's like really stay on the same side with the oils as well. So you don't need the whole bottle into it. You just need that drop. Thanks, Kim. Yeah, and it's so typical. Like, you know, we do it either because we just don't think about it, or we don't believe it, or we are just really experimental or anything. But yes, we do it time to time.
Totally. When someone told me that it was hot not to put it in your mouth, I was like, I wonder though. I didn't really believe it. And I'm like, yeah, it's too hot.
And that's the thing, like, just because they say it, you have to try sometimes. Like, I tasted oregano and someone savory as well. It's like, oh my God, I was like, almost tears were coming out of me. So so less is more, just saying. Quality over quantity, as always. So tip 4 is like, choose matching oils. So it's the same like when you go to a restaurant and they offer you the matching wine to your food. There is a reason why they are matching, because they do match better and they do have a better taste. So if you know already like how you cook and what herbs are matching, or what spices are matching, because they're like turmeric, like you can use the oil instead of the spice or with the spice, and just choose the matching one. So for example, if you go with a lighter meal, like white meat, or like I like prawns. With prawns, I go with softer oils like lemongrass or litsea. They have almost the same taste. I love litsea, is even softer for me. And that's what I use. But if I go with red meat, I would go with those ones that are matching, like traditionally as well, like rosemary and thyme, and something that really just, because they have stronger taste and they need to match, because like lemongrass is just disappearing in that strong taste of red meat. So when you choose your matching oils, that really can help. And when you find a recipe of like, you know, there are other foods like Indian, and then you have cardamom in it, then try to just experiment. Instead of the spice, use the oil and see how do you like it. And the tip number 5 is to cook for the best experience. So that's coming from my experience designer background, but seriously, when you want to make people happy, and food is one thing that when we sit around, when we are happy, when we are gathering, it's so important. It's like part of the bonding. So when you want to bond with people, it's so great when you know them, and then you say, oh, okay, he loves sweet stuff, or she loves salty, and she's like a savory person, and you think of what they like. So after a while, you will remember which oils are matching to which kind of foods. But for example, if you know the people you are cooking for, then you can choose the oils. They still match the same food, but they will create a different experience for them. So for example, if I'm cooking for more like savory people who like, you know, either salty, sour, or bitter taste, then I put more oregano into that spaghetti bolognese, or put more summer savory or thyme that are stronger and more bitter. But when I cook for someone who's like, oh, he or she is a sweet tooth, or they like mint, for example, it's very specific for me, because I know people who like mint, because I don't like mint too much. And then I put something like peppermint, or I put something like rosemary, marjoram, or basil, because they are lighter, they are more close to that, and they sometimes have the same chemicals that cause that minty taste and feeling. So I use those ones. So that's really important that you use, and that's the same with baking. I'm not baking that much, but the same, like when you say, and you know, some people love cinnamon, some hate. So you can adjust your food and cooking accordingly. And then they say, yeah, by the way, this food was with the oils. How do you like it? You know, it's an experiment for both of us. You might know it or might not know it before you ate it, but still. So that's about kind of for me for the basic tips. of what to use, when to use, and how to use, like in order to not to abuse them. But it's okay if you sometimes do it. Just do it, and then you will stay. It's just, I love it. That just fail again and fail better. So I have failed so many times in the kitchen that, like, oh my God, but still keep using them, and it's getting better, and it's getting to your, according to your taste. So a little bit more for advanced oil users or cookers, so chefs. So one tip is that you can cook for your health. So when you feel like, oh, I'm having this something, throat infection, or I'm having, oh, I got a virus, or I got something, or you didn't even get yet, but you want to avoid it, then you can choose oils and say, okay, which oil is good for my condition, or that thing I want to prevent, or I want to avoid or get rid of. And then think about, okay, these are the oils. How can I add them into my food? So, for example, you can have heaps of antibacterial oils. You have like lavender. And it's very simple to find them, and then to find like, okay, which one is edible? And choose that one. And then you can add it to your drinks. You can add it to your meat. You can add it to your veggies. You can add it to your salad. The other is like, what about antiviral? So obviously, because of COVID, we've been really high on antiviral stuff last year. So we have been consuming heaps of oregano and thyme because they strengthen you from inside. They can fight against something that your body might have not been able to before. And that's why people are taking oregano in veggie caps, for example. So that's the other thing. It's not cooking, but you can still have them and be part of your eating habits. So that's like, you can have like, you just want to clean your kidneys or livers or gut, where Caitlin will talk more about it regarding copaiba and the other digestive oils. But you can have like simple nerve pain. So if you think like, oh, I have a toothache, then you just put little cloves into your drink. Put little because clove is one that can hurt you. So it can be really strong. And you just think about that, like what kind of oils can really have an impact on that part or the throat or something, like, or you have a headache that day and say like, okay, it's gonna be a peppermint day. And you have that one in your drink and it just goes through and helps you. So tip number 2 is that you can cook also for your mood. So sometimes I just go to the kitchen and I have my standard oils and I say, I don't feel like that today. And you can cook for uplifting yourself. So if you feel like, I'm gonna need something, then you can go with some citrus kinds. So all kinds of citrusy oils can really uplift your mood. And I would add Lycia here because of the lemongrassy taste and smell. It's really uplifting for me. You can go for like, I'm just so tired, I want to relax, and use the lavender and clove type of things that, I mean, I'm saying those are relaxing me, but you can find which ones are relaxing you and drink or cook with them. Or you need some pampering, or like you have a Christmas feeling. We had that one is typical, orange and cinnamon. So just cook for that mood, and that's what I do, which I will come back to you regarding the drinks, about them. Or that's one of the ones I've discovered end of last year, that, for example, thinking. So pink pepper helps you become more analytical. So sometimes I love pink pepper and I diffuse it, for example, but I love cooking with it because when you abuse your oils and they are half as strong as the black pepper, then you still can be better off at the end of your cooking with heaps of pink pepper oil in it than if you use the black one. And pink pepper is kind of like nice and soft and kind of the feminine version of the black pepper for me. Or if you need strength. So I feel like I should do something and I should achieve, and I just need a little bit more strength. And I was like, okay, bergamot, come to me. I love you. And this is, what we have in Earl Grey tea. So when you start drinking that, they say bergamot is really good for your solar plexus and giving you strength. And I do experience that too. I will come back to you on that one as well. So that's how you can just, all the same way as you diffuse your oils, you can, some of them that are edible or digestible, you can use them internally as well. And tip number 3, that's like, think holistically. So unfortunately, in our normal households, we don't have, a cleaning staff who prepares the kitchen to be, ready for us to cook. And then we don't have a cleaning staff and like kitchen hands, like to clean it again. So we have to do it all for ourselves. So that's really important for me that, and I know Kim is really high on this one, so feel free to ask her that, when you try to be healthy and you try to be and give love and life for yourself through your food, and then you are giving death to yourself through the toxins you are cleaning your kitchen with, your plates, your table, your everything, your kitchen bench. So for me, it's important to surround yourself with the same oils because they help you clean it. So like a little vinegar, baking soda, and lemon can clean your kitchen bench, and it can be as clean as with other cleaning stuff without any toxins in it. Not to mention it has a great smell. You can add other smells if you like, but they do the cleaning part, and you can add other oils to clean that. Or On Guard, it's typical like Christmas cleaning is like for me because it has that cinnamon, clove, orange, and all those kind of smells. It really does help you. Or I just learned one recently from Gwen that your chopping boards, they really love, and they can be nicely cleaned and oiled after that with hinoki. And hinoki is quite rare. You can buy it in special, but it smells good. It felt like I'm giving back the life with the tree oil to that chopping board. And not everybody is so, attached to things, like physical things. I can be attached to physical things, and my chopping boards are like always like really used until they really die. And I felt like, oh, I'm giving back to that life to them, and they become cleaner, like better, smelling good, and live longer. So yes, you can give that life back to your chopping boards, not to dry them out. So I love those things. So cleaning, like citrus or specifically lemon, oregano, and hinoki was like top of my mind. Because yeah, that's part of the cooking, you have to preparation and finish it and all sorts. So that's about like the hot things and the preparation. So going to cold things, I would like to mention salads and drinks. I'm not really doing that much smoothies, but that's the same. And maybe next time I can prepare with that one. So salads are an interesting thing because while with cooking, you boil the food and they kind of, half of the oils are gone by the time you eat it from your plate. But with the salad, they stay there because you add them and they will be on the cold salad. So the tip would be kind of the same, to mix your oils with your olive oil or whatever oil you are pouring onto your salad. It can be avocado or whatever other oils are using, or your dressing or your sauce or whatever you call it. So something that you put on your salad, put the oils onto that one, because if you just drop the oils onto it, then it will be really concentrated on one leaf, and then there will be nothing on the other one, and it will be really strong sometimes. And even if you like a taste, you will not necessarily like that strength of that taste. So just mix it with something. And again, do not overuse the oils. Just try couple of drops only from each, or maybe different ones. Or you can just start with one. And then use it on the salad. And always taste it. So I made a fantastic salad. I used my favorite oils, and I put it into the olive oil. And I made the mistake that I put it onto the salad before I tasted it. And then I realized, like, that was not really for what I expected. So always, before you put any mix or sauce or dressing onto it, taste the dressing. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Because yes, it will be more diluted on the salad, but it will still have the same taste. So if you don't like it, rather make another one than destroying the whole salad. Just from experience. So tip number 2 regarding drinks. This is a big thing I learned from Kim as well. So he was really keen on like lemon and ginger and having that warm water in the morning and start the day with that kind of ritual, which I really like rituals. And however, I don't use that much lemon and ginger oil. I use them more for the fresh lemon and ginger, because we are lucky in New Zealand having lemon season twice a year, and ginger is kind of always available. But even if I do that, I have the lemon water with the ginger, and then I can choose what I put into it. So when I had a heavy meal, for example, I just have a glass of water with either lemon or ginger, or just the water, and I can put the digestion into it. It's like, oh, help me with the digestion. So just one drop. or you can use any kind of citrus kind. So I might almost all of them, I guess, edible. So I'm not a fan of lemon that much, but I love lime. And maybe because I like savory and bitter stuff. But I love grapefruit as well. That's more bitter as well. I love that one. And somehow I always believe that if I love it, it means my body likes it and my body needs it. So it helps me. Maybe it cleanses my liver better because it likes, or my gallbladder needs some bitter stuff or fatty stuff sometimes so that it can clean. I don't mind. I just go more intuitively of like which taste I like or which smell I like. And that means your body doesn't hate it. So if it's a poison for your body will say no, really, like seriously, no. So the other thing was Slim and Sassy, which is a mix. It's a blend, but it's really, really cool still for your digestion. It tastes good. And yeah, bergamot is the other one I fell in love recently with. And obviously, if you are more a sweet tooth, then you can go with ginger. You can go with cinnamon and orange. And sometimes even if I use that one, I put the cinnamon powder into my drinks, and clove as well. So depending on like which taste you like, just experiment and then you will find your way. The tip number 3 is the coffee. So it's like I was experimenting a lot with coffee and I didn't like it because people said, oh, I use it in my coffee, and then they drop it. It's like, oh, it looks weird, the oil on my coffee and all sorts, and I just didn't like that taste. But I was like, okay, what if I put it onto the coffee while I'm brewing it? So basically that's what helped me loving doing it with oils. So even just one drop, obviously I'm doing a small portion of coffee, but just one drop. So I experimented with like orange. People loved it. They just loved it, how it melted into it, and then you don't have the oil in the coffee when it comes out. It just has that taste, but so deeply infused because the whole steam is going through it. It's just magical. It's just good. The same with cinnamon. I tried it with ginger, which was very funky, feeling like you are drinking a ginger beer coffee or a Canada Dry coffee or something. Really weird. But hey, you have to try it sometimes, these things. What else did I try it with? I tried it with many, many other things, but like bergamot I love because I love Earl Grey tea. So I tried like, oh, what about an Earl Grey coffee? You know, that's the same what it takes. So go for it. And just if you're a coffee drinker, try it with your coffee, and it will be fun. That's about cold and warm food. And any comments you have, anybody? Just kidding, I'm just talking. Okay, I can talk about it forever. So the extra, yeah.
I just kind of added stuff in the chat so people could kind of see but no, that was so many cool ideas, like to add the aroma of the oil into the food without adding a whole drop. Like you said, like put the oil with the coffee while it's brewing. That's so smart because it really is a lot when you add a drop to a cup of warm water. Yeah. Depending on what the oil is, you know, like sometimes I'll do On Guard when it's like winter, but it's strong, you know, I'll like it with honey, so it's better, but it's very strong. But that's a really good idea. Yeah.
Actually, On Guard was the other one. I experimented with coffee and I love that one.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. And Ginny says so many cool ideas. Thank you. Yeah, Babette's been experimenting, so she's got all these thoughts. I love it. And I haven't ever used bergamot. I haven't thought about that. So that's a really interesting one to play around with.
Yeah, so for us, in Hungary, we don't drink the English breakfast tea and the Irish, or we drink the Earl Grey. Usually that was our black tea. So that's where I think the love of bergamot comes, because of that taste. It's coming from childhood as well.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Babette.
So extra tips, just the last 3, which like, they are not necessarily strongly connected to cooking, but I just felt like I want to mention them. So tip number 1 is to have a travel kit. And I know we are not really, we can't be traveling around in some places of the world, but it's like, call it like a barbecue kit, or call it like I'm going over to my friend's kit, or I'm party kit, or whatever kit you name it. But what I mean is that if you just have your little bags with you in your own bag, I always have some oils with me, like kind of always. And if I go for a barbecue or wherever, you can have things like, if it's like an evening one, I definitely have lime. So lime is something I can go and I can put it into my water. I love the taste. You can put it onto the prawns while they are on the barbecue and they will taste fantastic. You can put it into the salad, and, you know, women like, you know, just experimenting over there in between each other, and then we can put it into salad, and we did it. And if you put it on your stuff with another carrier oil, then it repels mosquitoes, and mosquitoes love me, and I so hate them. And even if they find me and you put the lime, if they already found me and bit me, I put the lime oil in, and it will just make it disappear. So it's not itchy, it's not killing your brain with that feeling of hell, I got the mosquito bite. So I like these multi-purpose oils that you can use in your drink, in your food, on your stuff, you know, and lime is one of that I really love for summer. And the other one is like Slim and Sassy. Obviously, even the name, people like it. So you can just have it, and they can try it in their glasses, and just it gives like just an uplift of the mood and just an uplift of the whole thing. And then you can let people know about all these oils and your love of them. Not to mention, it's in the name that it's slimming, and it has some impact on your metabolism. So the same with peppermint. I would say I'm not a fan of peppermint, but many of my friends are carrying the peppermint, and it's really great because that's the same. They can put it into their drinks, and also when somebody had a headache, suddenly just came on, they just can give that, and they massage it into the neck, and that person felt better. So I like these multi-purpose use oils when they are with you, and obviously it can have like some antibacterial impact as well. So if you cut yourself while cooking, then you can use some of the oils, like the same with lavender and some others, and On Guard. So that's the other thing that we use for disinfection for sprays, as well as hand sanitizing and all sorts. So On Guard is the same. Use it in your drinks. You can just smell it, put it around, you know, if they have this oil burners or something, or diffusers, as well as you can just have blood drop and then say, okay, I'm clean, thank you, I feel much better without any chemicals and heavy stuff. So that's like whatever you like in your travel kit, to choose the oils and that are multi-purpose, that you love the smell and you love eating, drinking them. The other tip is copaiba. So copaiba is a very fantastic oil, and I didn't know first, like, what the hell is that? I never heard about that. This is like something new for me. But why I love it is it's not just that what Caitlin will talk about regarding your digestion and kidney and liver and all other stuff it can help you with, but because it's an amplifier of all the rest of the oils. So for example, when I had a pinched nerve, I used clove and copaiba on my lower back, and they said, like, just put the copaiba in it because that's what gives like an amplifying effect on it. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's why I use it in the cooking. So whatever I have mentioned to you, I always add a drop or two of copaiba as well into the food, because that amplifies all of the rest. So you can imagine when you have the sports cars, they are really, really fast already, like our oils are really, really concentrated. But then you just say, oops, turn on that nitro, and you go, you know, like that's what copaiba gives to them. Like, here is this strength, here is this power, bang. And I like this, you know, efficiency. So copaiba is something like an add-on for me all the time. And fasting. So the other thing I do, intermittent fasting, but I do monthly eating. I can't have the oils. I can't use any of them internally, but I can use them on my stuff. So all of these oils we talked about, they have other impacts on you as well. So like basil has some connection with cortisol and all sorts. And when you are fasting, it can have an impact on your cortisol level as well. But that's how I use it. So I feel like that also helps because you're not eating, you're not feeding yourself from outside. So I feel like I want to pamper myself with the oil. So what I do is I use endocrine on my liver and I massage it into it, like just feeding it and helping it to live and love this life. Or I use digestion on my tummy so that however I'm not digesting food from outside, but yes, I'm using my fat storage and I am digesting still. Your tummy is still having things in it. And bergamot is the other one, giving the strength, and it's really good on the solar plexus. So just using your oils, even when you are not eating, you can use your edible oils on your skin. So that's it from me, eating or not eating. they can help you with something. Are you still with me? The internet is just breaking a little bit.
You're okay. Kind of cut out a little bit, but not too badly. But yeah. Thank you for all that amazing information, Babette. Caitlin, take it away.
Okay, so I'm hoping my internet works. My phone died, so I'm running off a hotspot on my laptop. So hopefully it sticks. But I'm gonna start with Copaiba just because Babette just mentioned it, and Kim put basically what I was gonna say in the chat. So I'll just read what Kim said. But one of the things that I like about Copaiba, I have Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory bowel disease, and Copaiba, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, is the only one listed for IBD and IBS patients. So it's one of my favorites because it is an anti-inflammatory. It helps with stress and anxiety and like helping with those feelings and calming down your body. So it's one that I apply every morning, and I'm going to get to a blend that I use for digestion that includes Copaiba in a second. The next one is peppermint, which Babette said she's not a fan of, but it's one of my lifesavers. It's known to help with digestive symptoms of like bloating, gas, indigestion, acid reflux, and it also, if you have intestinal spasms, which I do thanks to Crohn's, if you rub it in like around your intestinal area, it can help with intestinal spasms, which I think is really cool. And then also Digestin is another great one for digestion. And I also am going to talk about Terrazyme in a second, which is the little capsules that they have. But Digestin is coriander, ginger, and fennel. And it helps ease the occasional stomach discomfort of indigestion. And then peppermint, anise, and caraway are known to help with digestion and maintaining healthy gastrointestinal tracts, which is super important for not only your digestion like process, but also just gut health affects your entire body, which is really important. I like to mix all three of these together in a roller bottle. So I have one that I call my IBD Warrior Blend. I've posted about it on Rise and Thrive, on Instagram, on everything. It's 10 drops of peppermint, 10 drops of all three. And then I fill the rest of the roller bottle with coconut oil. And I'll put it, if I feel sick or bloated or like I'm just not feeling well at all, I will put it like on my wrist right here, and then I'll put it on my stomach. And normally, and I'm not saying this is gonna work for everyone, but normally it helps me to like not feel as sick anymore, especially when my meds don't work. So
sorry, Caitlin, can you repeat that again? The IBD Warrior Blend has peppermint and what else?
Copaiba and Digestin.
Got it.
And it's 10 drops of each.
Cool.
And then one of my other favorite doTERRA things for digestion, which has really helped me, because I've told Kim this multiple times, but I can't have gluten anymore because of IBD, and it makes me super sick. So I say when I accidentally get gluten, these are like a lifesaver because they help your body to break down foods, and it's filled of a bunch of enzymes that help your metabolism, and it helps you convert the food nutrients into cellular energy like quicker. So for me who has, I'm really seeing your chat go up, but for me who like has a problem digesting my food, it really helps me like not feel so sick after I eat, or if I eat too much accidentally, which doesn't happen as much anymore, it would help me not feel sick like right after. It might take a little longer. And it also helps you also produce your own enzymes and promotes gastrointestinal comfort and food tolerance. So that's where I get gluten comes from. Finally, I'm going to talk about ginger, which I feel like this is a common one that everyone knows. They make the ginger gum, ginger oil. My favorite when I feel really nauseous is to put ginger, again, in the hot water, like Babette was saying, and drink it. And normally it'll help with nausea. It can also help with constipation and improve your digestion. So even if you're not feeling sick, this can really help. And that is about all I have. Sorry, I went a little fast. So if I need to go back and say anything, let me know.
Yeah, you were saying ginger for nausea. You said constipation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ginger's a good one. And it's warming. So it's like a good, I think that's why Digestin is so nice, because it's got the peppermint, which is cooling. It has the ginger, which is warming. So you literally get that warming, cool effect. Like I like to apply it on my belly after I eat almost every meal, just because it's a nice thing to do for myself. And it helps. And even if I don't feel like I need it, it just feels good to do that. And it's very soothing. And it's like 5 minutes later, I'll start feeling like the cooling and the warming, and it's just so nice. So definitely recommend that. And I think they're redoing the recipe for Digestin like really soon. They're improving it somehow. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, cool. Does anyone have any questions? I tried to type lots of stuff that you guys were saying, just because it was a lot of information. So I wanted people to be able to like read and see. But that was great. Hey, Ginny, good to see you. All right, well, if no one has any questions, we will end there. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, send us questions. We always like to chat. Oh, I say one more thing, actually. I put in the chat, I made a YouTube video sometime last year, and it talks about how to safely ingest essential oils. And I'll just maybe run through that briefly, because this comes up sometimes and some people get really concerned about ingesting essential oils. I'll just say first, you don't have to ingest essential oils to use oils. You can take them any way you want. So it's just personal choice. As far as the oils, I guess the quickest way I can say it is that essential oils is not a regulated industry. So unfortunately, you don't really know what you're getting, right? Unless you go through a company like doTERRA, which is the only one that we know of that has transparent testing. The biggest consumer of essential oils is the food and beverage industry. So if you look at like almond milk and things like that, it'll say like almond essence or flavor, and those are all essential oils. So, but there's no regulation on if that's a synthetic derived essential oil, because they can make anything in a lab. So people are actually ingesting essential oils likely pretty often every single day. So it's just good to understand that there's kind of more to the picture there. We're just not used to seeing like oils and putting it directly into our own food. They are concentrated, they are strong. So we talked about that, like just being careful with hotter oils. But as long as you dilute them properly, they're perfectly safe. I would always just test an oil on your skin if you happen to have a weird reaction to something, just like all of us have, our bio individuals, so we might react differently. That's the best way to know if like, oh, am I sensitive to this particular oil? What else can I tell you? Yeah, so quality is key. As long as, with doTERRA, you can go to their website, source2.com, and there's a number on the bottom of the bottle. And you can plug in that number, and that number is for this bottle of Digestin in my hand, this batch of oil. And it will just confirm that there's no GMOs, there's nothing unnatural or unsafe or synthetic in it. And also that it's actually pure concentrated essential oil, because technically and legally, companies can sell essential oil that are heavily diluted. So a bottle of frankincense might be really cheap, and that's a kind of a no-brainer. That's not frankincense, because that's an expensive oil to harvest and all of that. So if it's cheap, it's not frankincense, basically. So I just want to add that in, because a lot of questions come up often about the safety and just understanding how this all works, because we're just not really educated, in general, the public isn't educated about this stuff. But again, if you guys have any questions, of course, reach out. And thank you for joining us. Have an awesome day or an evening. Bye.
Bye, guys.